Welcome to the Nebraska Hawkeyes. These guys are brave. They're Hawkeyes living in enemy territory. Listen, these guys are way past their prime, but they're still Hawkeyes. They're spreading the Hawkeye hype to all of Nebraska. The frost advisory is canceled. Corn huskers, more like corn suckers. Are you ready for this podcast? Let's go Hawks!
All right, welcome back to the Nebraska Hawks Nest, your Hawkeye oasis located in a Nebraska desert. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button so you can get all the latest updates on all of our Iowa Hawkeye legend, current player interviews, coaches, everything in between, because we always like to put a smile on Jerry's face, and that makes him real happy when we're the #1 podcast in Nebraska. Joining us today from a long trip home, we have Iowa women's basketball guard and USA 2021 FIBA World Cup MVP, Caitlyn Clark. Caitlyn, we're excited to have you. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here to talk with you guys today.
Have you gotten over all the jet lag yet?
Oh, slowly, honestly. It's taken a little while. I get super tired at nights, but I'm feeling back to 100% now, so ready to go for the new school year.
You're not getting any good food on that airplane. So, I mean, that had to have been like a forever journey. And then when you're traveling too, like from the airports and on planes, you don't get great food. And I know for me, like when you're eating a little bit of garbage like that, you start to feel not so great by the end of it. You're like, I need to go home. I need to eat some healthier food and relax. I bet you were just happy to get home.
Absolutely. I mean, my mom is a super good cook. So even if I'm eating really good fast food, I still don't feel the best when I'm just shoving that down my throat for a month straight. So it was definitely nice to get back home, get home cooked meals, things like that I really enjoy.
No, I totally get that. That's got to get old after a while. But first of all, congratulations for all of your success that you had over there. Tell us about that process. Before we circle back to the very beginning of your career, we really want to talk about the FIBA World Cup, what that experience was like for you, because that's something that such a minute percentage of athletes would ever get to experience. What was that like for you, Caitlyn, and how tough was that for you guys as a team to come together as quickly as you did?
Yeah, obviously just a really cool experience. That was my third time getting to represent USA. The first time I did it, I was 15 years old. So I've kind of been in the USA system and kind of known what it's about for a little while. And I was the oldest one on this team. And that was my first time being the oldest. In the past, I've kind of been used to just being the youngest one on the team. So it was kind of a different role for me this time. But as you said, having to come together as a team super fast. Most of those countries that we were playing have been together for like a couple months, been practicing. So they're usually a step ahead of us. Some of them are pro players. Obviously, all of us are either in college, and some of us haven't even played a college basketball game. So, I mean, it's definitely difficult coming together in 2 weeks and then playing 7 games in 10 days. So that's always the biggest challenge, just coming together. We always have the most talent. It's just trying to put the pieces together. And I think, honestly, this was probably the best team that I've been on. Maybe not the most talent that we've had all together, but we really were a great team, our team chemistry. And that's honestly what propelled us to win by such big margins.
You go back real quick. You said you were 15 the first time you performed. Mm-hmm. How intimidating was that too? I mean, a 15-year-old for perspective is a high school freshman, right?
Yeah, I had just finished my freshman year of high school. So, I mean, and I'm traveling to Argentina, like no parents, just my team.
Jeez.
But I mean, honestly, it's just such a cool experience. Not many people can say that they've traveled to Argentina in general or for basketball. So it was a super cool experience more than anything. And I think that's just honestly got me a step ahead, even in high school, just just playing different girls. The international game is a lot more physical, a lot different because, I mean, the international game, there's so much pushing, so much shoving. It's nothing like the college game, really. There's even some different rules that are different from the college game. So it's a lot of learning, but more than anything, it's just fun. It's a different experience. You get to see different cultures. But I mean, I'm lucky to have done it 3 times. So, and I hope to do it many more, honestly, too.
Do you ever find yourself bringing back some of those bad habits when you get back to the States and you're playing with your team, just dropping an elbow or like lowering a shoulder into somebody?
We might have to ask my team in a couple of weeks if I become a little too physical. I might start getting in fights in practice and stuff.
Hey, that's what you raise that intensity. That's what makes everybody better. So
That's right.
So does that
Jerry.
speed slow down or speed up? I mean, the difference in international to college, or is it pretty much the same tempo?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty much the same. Obviously, the shot clock in the international game is a little shorter, so you don't have as much time. So that kind of limits your options of what you run on offense. It's just like a lot of pick and roll, read and react, which honestly is super similar to what we run at Iowa, but not everybody in the college game runs that. But I mean, I would say the speed is the same. It's mostly just the physicality that's so much different. I mean, if you get one touch with your hand in college, and then if you touch them again, I mean, that's an automatic foul. So, but in the international game, there's body checking, there's hand checking like no other, and they're not going to call it.
Back in like the old school NBA days where
Honestly,
everybody would post up and have hands all over everybody.
Yeah.
It's weird how that game has changed so much over the years too. It's more fan friendly probably to watch, but I gotta tell you, for a kid that grew up in the 80s, I miss that contact, like going through the lane, and you're gonna have to pay the price, especially in the playoffs. If you're gonna go through the lane and score, you're gonna probably land on your rear end and take a little bit of a beating.
Yeah.
Going back to the beginning, when you're in high school at Dowling Catholic, Jerry's alma mater, we really want to know what that recruitment process was like. 5-star recruit coming out, number 4 guard, rated by ESPN, which they're probably a few spots off. We're thinking maybe number 1. That's kind of our call here. But what was your process like, Caitlyn? What were the other schools you were strongly considering, and what about Iowa made it home for you?
Okay, Caitlyn, real quick. Let's specify Iowa recruitment. You know, everybody. Adam's a Lincoln grad. He likes to go to that Dowling recruitment thing. So let's don't get mistaken. Let's go to.
Don't get me started on that whole thing.
That's what everybody tries to bring up, but no. Honestly, my recruitment process started super early. Honestly, before I was even in high school. So I think my parents did a really good job of not really allowing me to talk to many college coaches because I hadn't even been in high school yet. That'd be a little weird. So. But I mean, there was basically every school calling, wanting to talk to me, things like that. But as the process went on, I visited quite a few schools, East Coast, down south. I visited Texas, Oregon State, Notre Dame, like just seeing a bunch of different parts of the country. So I had things to compare to each other more than anything. And kind of as the process went on, I kind of knew that I wanted to be close to home just because my family's so close. My mom's relatives live here and we're all super close. So that made it a lot easier for me to cut down on some schools. And honestly, it was down to Iowa State and Notre Dame. And then ended up kind of just being Iowa and Notre Dame at the end. And I was really torn, obviously, because Notre Dame is such a blue blood in women's basketball. Not so much right now with the coaching change and just kind of trying to get back to that spot. But I mean, they were super good there, especially when I was getting recruited. They won a national championship. So I was definitely torn between the two, but overall, I just knew Iowa kind of was better for me. I wanted to do something a little different. I think Iowa really had all those pieces that I was looking for. 2 hours from home, so not too close, but not too far. It was like the perfect distance. I loved Coach Bluter. I loved the staff. I loved all the girls. I think we have the talent to go back to the Final Four. Obviously, they haven't been there in a while, but that's something that we really want to do. So it just seemed like all the stars aligned, especially with Kathleen Doyle graduating from the point guard role right before I was about to get there. So kind of just inserted me right into that spot as well.
So, Caitlyn, what fueled your desire to play basketball growing up? Reading your bio off the Iowa website, you've got a pretty deep family history with collegiate sports. But what was it that fueled you and basketball growing up, and what other interests did you have?
Yeah, I played a lot of sports growing up. I was super competitive, so my parents would literally just throw me in whatever. And I honestly started playing sports with boys before girls. I played soccer with the boys for a long time, and I also played basketball with the boys for a long time. But I have an older brother and an older cousin that's just 1 year older than me that lived here. And I would just follow them everywhere and want to do everything that they did. So I think that kind of like fueled me and wanted to play sports more than anything, especially basketball, because they loved basketball. And my dad played basketball and baseball at Simpson. He's from Indianola, so he kind of just stayed in that area, but he was a super talented athlete. And I think our family is just very, very sport oriented. So it kind of just made it easy for me to love sports. But I honestly did play a lot of sports growing up. I tried tennis, softball, soccer, and I still played soccer up until after my sophomore year of high school. And then I gave that up just because it conflicted too much with AAU basketball, but I really love that too. So we're definitely a sports family, so that's definitely what it's fueled by.
Jerry, didn't you go to Simpson too?
I did. I graduated.
This is
from Simpson
ridiculous
as well. So
Really?
yeah, I know.
What year?
94.
Yeah, you're definitely a little younger than my dad. I couldn't tell you what year.
I was holding on that. I was waiting for her to say, "Yeah, you're a little older than my dad."
No, you're definitely younger.
Jerry's gonna take that
I
as
don't
a
know what
win.
year exactly
I was like
my dad
sweating here.
graduated,
I'm like, how old does she
did
think
you play
I
any
am?
sports there?
I did not know.
Okay, but
Yeah,
not the biggest school.
I think I read.
Intramural All-Star.
Intramural All-Star, yeah. My
Yeah,
grandma still lives in Indianola, so I still go down to that area every now and then.
Sure. So, Caitlyn, what's the most, just for perspective, what's the most amount of points you've scored in a game?
I scored 60 my junior year of high school at Mason City. It was like the game was like the final score was like 90-80. So it wasn't like I was just blowing them out. It was just a game with no defense. It was my type of game.
For perspective, that's 58 more points than I scored in my entire Dowling career when I was on the team. So anyway,
but Jerry, you were there for Jerry was there for moral support on the bench. He put a lot of energy into the team.
Hey, those people are important.
I had the best seat in the house. Those names. So anyway, but well, this is awesome. But yeah, I saw that with the family and the development coming up. So how easy or how difficult then you decide to go to Iowa and Coach Bluter, the whole family atmosphere, was it a really, really easy transition then into college, or did you have any difficulties and trying to balance the academics and the basketball side of things?
Honestly, it was really easy for me. I think just the girls and the captains we had last year made it super easy, even with COVID going on. I found it to be very smooth, and not everybody can say the same, but I think just the support staff that we have at Iowa, not even basketball wise, but even just academically, we're really there to help, especially throughout the COVID year. Obviously, all my classes were online, so that's weird. But no, I mean, obviously there was things basketball wise that took me a little while or whatnot, were just a change from high school where you're not really doing as much basketball stuff as you are in college. But honestly, I found it to be very smooth. And I think that's just credit to the type of girls and coaches and support staff that we have at Iowa, really.
Caitlyn, growing up, I know most basketball players really find a few players that they like to model their game after, that they see, hey, I really like the way that person plays. I'm going to pick up some of these moves. What type of player or what players did you see growing up that you were like, I'm going to pick up some of these moves. I really like how this person plays. And then also a twofold question here, being a player at your caliber too, what are some of the things that you're really working on this offseason to improve your game for next season?
Yeah, I think growing up, the biggest person I watched was Maya Moore. She played for the Minnesota Lynx, played at UConn. She was kind of like the star when I was a younger kid. So obviously the Minnesota Lynx are like the closest WNBA team to here. So that's who I really loved. I've been to a couple of their games, and I mean, she could just flat out score the ball. So it kind of makes sense why I like her. But on the boys' side, I was a huge Harrison Barnes fan. He went to North Carolina, so I had the Harrison Barnes jersey, the North Carolina shorts. But
we're a little bitter about him, so
yeah,
not coming to Iowa.
Yeah, I know. But I just loved watching him. My dad took me to watch him at Wells Fargo Arena. I was a huge Harrison Barnes fan. And then like just moving into what I want to improve and what I've been working on for this year. Obviously for our team, the biggest thing is defense. And I think me personally, even just really focusing on that and locking down and knowing that our team really has to improve that area if we want to be great. And then on the offensive side of the ball, just being able to get open without the ball in my hands, I think that's going to be super important going into next year. And then a lot of stuff off the dribble with the ball in my hands, because that's where I feel the most comfortable. And I think just improving my left hand more and more.
The weird thing, Jerry and Caitlyn, I'm sure you probably heard of the guy, but this is going to really make us sound super old, which we do pretty successfully on a regular basis. When he puts the ball on the floor, I see so many comparisons and similarities to Pete Maravich. When you're out on the floor dribbling around, and then, the flow is just, it looks effortless. And the first time I saw you play at Iowa, when you were at Iowa, I was like, she looks like a female Pete Maravich, the way she flows around the court with the ball so effortlessly. Have you ever heard that before?
Oh my gosh, you're not the first. We will say that.
Okay.
So many people tell me that I'm like Pistol Pete. When I first heard that, I'm like, I don't know who that is. I got to go look him up on YouTube.
I watched the movie when I was a kid. My dad showed it to me. And there was this scene where his dad's driving him down the street and he's dribbling the basketball out the window while they're going like 50 miles an hour down the street. My dad couldn't even get the car to like 15 miles per hour. The ball's going boom, flying down the street.
I'm going to try that tonight. I'm going to have to go try that.
It's hard. But if you ever get time, it's an older movie. It's called The Pistol, but it's an awesome movie. It just talks about his journey throughout life, becoming, the great basketball player that he was. But I thought that was really cool when I saw you out there. I'm like, God, it's a Pete Maravich vibe.
Yeah, you're definitely not the first to tell me that.
So Caitlyn, talking about that, then after your development, you come up and you're, and you're playing this international competition, and then you were also like a national champ in AAU, weren't you? So did you feel, as you guys progressed last year, even with the COVID years, you progressed and then you get to the tournament, did you feel like you might've been more calm, or was that all that experience just helpful to you as you went on, or being the first time through the college experience in a tournament, were you still having the butterflies and goosebumps like anybody else?
Oh yeah, definitely still the butterflies and goosebumps for sure. But I think it was almost a little different for me just because there weren't many fans. So I feel like it didn't hit me as hard as it probably would have. So I think this coming year, it'll definitely hit me, even just instead of Carver playing in front of a packed arena. That's what I live for. That's one of the reasons I came to Iowa. But no, it definitely hit me, like, especially when we played UConn, like, oh my gosh, like we're playing UConn. Like that's every little girl grows up watching UConn. And I wasn't like shell shocked, but it's just like, okay, we're in the Sweet 16, we're playing UConn. Like that's cool. So I think that's just the biggest thing, really.
I'm hoping we run into them again, because I'm thinking the second time around, I think you're going to have their number. I thought throughout that game, you were figuring them out more and more and more, and we just ran out of time. Yeah, I think 100%. Next year we're going to get them. Yeah,
I totally agree. I think every single person in our locker room wants to play them again. We're definitely not afraid of them by any means. And I don't think we played our cleanest game, honestly. And I think in the third quarter, we had a 3 go in and out that would have cut it to 5 points. And then after that, it kind of slowly dwindled. And then at the end, it kind of ballooned a little bit. So it really wasn't a 20-point loss by any means. It just kind of ballooned at the end. And we really hung with them, and we didn't really even play our best game. So a lot to look forward to, honestly, from that, really.
So going into that game, Caitlyn, how – it was really built up as to you and Paige Beckers being one of the top recruits in the nation. But then, one of the previous top recruits, and Kristen Williams, ends up, having the most points for UConn that game. What were your thoughts? Or, did that put any more pressure on it? The fact that it was being billed with you and Paige, like, as the headline going into that game?
Yeah, totally, for sure. I ended up having to delete social media for a little bit because before that game, anytime I would go on it, it was just me versus Paige, and that's all it was. And it just got a little annoying. Even if I would like turn on the TV, it was on SportsCenter. That's super cool that it was on SportsCenter and they're advertising that game like that. But like, it's just a lot, especially because both of us were freshmen. We're playing in our first Sweet 16 game. But that's what you want for the women's game. It was just a lot, especially because, as you said, they had Kristen Williams. And really the people that helped them win that game wasn't Paige. It was their supporting cast that really did all the work and kind of hurt us. One of their wing players had a triple-double. Kristen went off for 20-some points. I mean, they have a really great supporting cast, and that's what makes them so great. Obviously, Paige is an amazing player, but it was their supporting cast that game that really carried them.
What do you feel like as a player that's made Gino Auriemma so successful for such a long period of time at UConn?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's getting the best recruits every single year. I mean, that makes his job a little easier, but I think just the culture that they have there seems to be pretty good. Obviously, I'm not in that locker room and I can't really speak to that, but he obviously demands great respect. I mean, one of the most respectable, one of the greatest coaches of all time. So I think the girls just know the standard when they get there. That's not something that has to be taught. And I think that just speaks for itself when you see them play on the court. They're just kind of different. But I mean, I think there's even more and more of that coming around in women's basketball, and that's what you want. You don't just want it to be UConn every single year. You just don't want it to be Stanford. I think even this year in the tournament, you saw quite a few more upsets than normal, and that's what makes women's basketball more and more exciting. And I think as we move forward, it's going to be more like that. And I think the neutral court this year helped with that. So I'm not sure if that'll be the plan moving forward, but you want even more teams that are really good every single year. You don't want those same four. And I think it's starting to move that way, which is a really good sign.
That's what's hurt college football, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same 3 or 4 teams every year.
I know. I was looking at something the last week, and it was like the projected 4 for the playoff: Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I'm like, they just put the same thing every single year.
Yeah, it's just as a fan, it makes it just kind of disappointing, and that's why the NCAA tournament for the men and the women is one of the most exciting sports experiences there is as a fan, because anything can happen on any given day.
Absolutely. Yep. I totally agree.
Yeah. So tell us about, things moving forward, your relationships with Coach Bluter, Coach Jensen, and, and the rest of the coaching staff. I mean, how are things going? And I mean, how are they helping you grow and develop?
Yeah, I think me and Coach Bluter have a super good relationship. We're super honest with each other. And I think the biggest thing is, like, she's not easy on me, and that's exactly what I want. She knows I have so much more room to grow and become even better than I am right now. And I'm super, super grateful for that. I wouldn't want a coach that thinks I'm all this or all that, because I really have things to improve, things to get better at, especially if I want to move on and play at the next level. And she completely understands that. So, I mean, we have very open, honest conversations, and it's even things off the court as well. It's not even just things on the court. So I think our whole coaching staff is there. They push every single person on the team to get better every single day. And that's one of the reasons I came to Iowa, is because I could tell I could have such great relationships with the coaches. And my position coach is Coach Abby. She'll be in her 3rd year as the small guards. I don't like to call myself a small guard, but I am considered a small guard coach. And we have a super good relationship. We watch a lot of film together just to see ways I can improve. And that's one of the best ways that I can see myself perform and ways to get better. Because, I mean, film doesn't lie. It literally shows what you're doing, even if you don't want to face the facts. So,
well, Caitlyn, we want to take a look at this sweet T-shirt right here.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, I love that. Is that still available?
Yes, it is. It'll be up for probably 3 more weeks-ish, or if it sells out by then, which we're hoping it should. So,
all right.
Yeah, pretty cool. Got the AC/DC theme going on.
I like it.
Did you help develop that yourself, or did you have some? Did you have consultants?
Yeah. Well, we worked with a printing studio and a designer. I'm not the most creative person in the world, so I kind of had my ideas. Some people that are helping me had their ideas, and we kind of all just combined it together, came up with that. But I actually made some of those shirts myself, pressed the button on the presser, and
cool.
But yeah, it's super cool. And this NIL thing, I think, is going really well for student athletes, and it's really cool to see all the different things they're doing.
Do you have any NIL opportunities on the landscape that you're looking ahead to possibly?
Yeah, there's a few. Obviously, I've been gone for a month, and I left Iowa on July 17th, and this started July 1st. So it's kind of hard for me to really do anything before then. So really, I've only been back for a week. So I have a lot of people helping me and just trying to work through all the different opportunities, just because I've been contacted about so many different things that it's hard. So definitely taking my time, but I think there is some really cool stuff that'll be out in the future for sure.
So has the flight program, you've been so busy, have you even had a chance to really interact with that program then much?
Yeah.
Or has it, and then I guess kind of take us through, we've heard it announced, but I mean, what are some of the ways that they're helping support you and helping you guys understand, how to handle these opportunities?
Yeah, the flight program is super cool. So Iowa partnered with Influencer, and honestly, Iowa was kind of a step ahead of most colleges. Some other colleges were kind of getting ahead in the NIL world, could see it coming. And Iowa was one of those. So they partnered with Influencer to we've always had a partnership with Influencer, and it's this app on our phone that we would get all the pictures that our photographers take on game days and things like that. We would go into the app and get those pictures. But now in the app, you got to report all your NIL transactions. There's like educational videos, because really when this NIL hit, there was a lot of student athletes that just really didn't even know what all it consisted of. What you could do, what you couldn't do, things like that, and how to report your earnings and all that. So I think this program that the University of Iowa really put together, not only is it a good way for us to report things that we're doing, but it's a great way to educate our student athletes. So I think that's just the biggest thing, is just getting people educated, because not everybody really knew what it all consisted of.
All right, Caitlyn, pull us into your world. It's a Big Ten conference game, and you're getting ready to get out and take the court. It's your pregame ritual. Walk us through maybe what you're going to have to eat, what type of music you're going to be listening to, what different things you're thinking about or doing to get ready to play a regular Big Ten season game.
Yeah. Well, we usually eat like 3-4 hours before. Just that's kind of our routine. So usually like pasta, definitely a protein, chicken. But yeah, I mean, a basic pregame meal, nothing crazy, pasta, chicken, get your carbs in, type of meal. Then I probably just go back to my apartment, chill for an hour. Then I go back to the arena. I honestly don't listen to much music, especially when we're at home. I kind of just go put my uniform on. Then I go to the training room, kind of like hang out, do my thing. We usually have Beyonce radio on in there, actually.
Okay.
So we have that going for us. I get taped, and I usually am the first one on the court, just because you only get one basket. So I get irritated when everybody else is shooting and their ball is hitting mine. So I try to get out there first and get shots up, really, and then kind of just do my own shooting routine. And then everybody else kind of gets out there, and then we go through our stretching. But honestly, nothing crazy, really. But yeah, it'll be more fun when I'm warming up with fans in the arena. I will say that.
All right.
I'm feeling pretty good right now, because Adam and I were taking bets whether I would actually know who you named for your music artist, being as old as I am. And you said Beyonce, and I actually knew that. Now I know it's Beyonce radio. There's probably artists on there I don't. But
I listen to a lot of different stuff.
What else you got on your playlist?
In the summer, my go-to is obviously country. I'm a big country fan. I mean, I'm from Iowa. I have to like country music.
Not necessarily. I'm from Iowa, and I am not a country music fan. I have a hard time just when I listen to it. I'm like, it just.
I don't get how people don't like it, especially in the summer. Come on.
Well, and I used to always say I grew up in the middle of Des Moines, and I'm kind of a city kid. I'm not a country kid, but you did too, and you love it.
I live in West
Des
Moines.
Yeah,
I live right in the middle of it all.
I don't have an excuse anymore.
Adam's discounting the fact we grew up with older country, and the guys that are now, that's kind of more your
it's like pop country now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's not like hard country.
Kenny Chesney and stuff. Yeah, we didn't have that. We were the traditional, way back then. So Adam, remember how old you are, buddy. Let's not get into that.
That's true. That's true. Okay, thanks for keeping it real, Jerry. All right, Caitlyn. So we're gonna fast forward into the future here. You're a WNBA GM. Okay. Ooh. You have to name you have to pick your starting five, and it can be any of all time, the 5 greatest women's basketball players to put together for your team. Who are you choosing?
Oh, that's so hard. Oh my gosh. Oh.
Or you can do NBA, whichever one you want.
What if I did a combo?
That's cool. That's different. Okay, that's cool. Let's do that.
I'm going to go. There's so many people I could pick. It's insane. I would pick Pistol Pete as my point guard, obviously.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to put Diana Taurasi at the 2.
Okay.
At the 3, oh man, Kobe.
All right.
Yeah. I don't know who I want as my 5. That's the thing. Who would you guys pick as your post player?
If I was going female, I would probably go Lisa Leslie, I would say.
Yeah. Lisa Leslie. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
If I was going male, I'd go Tim Duncan. He was just so reliable down there in the post.
Duncan, yeah,
I'm drawing a blank. The girl from Baylor. She's
Brittany Griner. That's what I was thinking.
Griner.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
If I had to pick,
wow.
Yeah, she's more I saw her play in college. I mean, she blocks a lot of shots, so she'd be a good 5. At my 4, I almost might put LeBron just because he's so versatile. I mean,
all right.
I'm going with the younger players right now. Like,
okay. Who's gonna coach this team?
Me.
You're gonna coach and GM both.
Yes,
coach.
I'm doing both.
All right.
Okay, but if I actually had to pick a coach, I'd pick. I'm a Steve Kerr fan. I like Steve Kerr. I might go with him. I like Popovich too. I like Cheryl Reeves. She's the coach of the Minnesota Lynx. If I had to pick somebody, maybe Coach Bluter. Shoot, Coach Bluter is going to coach him.
Well, I was going to say at the beginning, like other than Coach Bluter, because we know we're going to pick Coach Bluter or Coach Jensen, right away. So we got to go with someone else.
So Caitlyn, talking about the WNBA, and you mentioned earlier that you want to go to the next level. How strong is that pull for you right now? Because we're realizing, I mean, with your talent, you're probably, going to have opportunities sooner than, is your plan right now to stay all 4 years or, how strong is that pull for you right now?
Yeah. I mean, you have to be, the current WNBA rules are you have to be 21 or get your degree early. So I'm younger. I wouldn't be old enough. So I'd have to have my degree in 3 years to leave a year early. But I mean, I'll definitely probably be staying 4 years. I don't see myself leaving early, especially with the support of women's basketball in Iowa City. Just probably wouldn't really make any sense for me to leave. We get a lot of fans. I mean, the college game is so fun. It's so exciting. I'm in no rush to move on to the next level. Just enjoy where I'm at, really. So yeah, I definitely see myself staying 3 more years, and I've told a lot of people that, and that's truly what I believe and think I'll do. So.
We hope the same too, and plus, we got those final fours we got to get done.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know if you caught that earlier, but she wasn't backing down from UConn, Adam, and that's what got me excited. I was like, I know. And this is what I learned, and it was like, oh, that was awesome.
That's getting me fired up too. I was ready to flip the table here, but
all right. So now we need to really ask you a serious question, and we really want your honesty in this. How many 3-point contests have you had against any of the men? Who did you beat, and what were their names?
I haven't had any actually, but I think there should be some.
I think there should be, definitely.
Whenever I go on Twitter, it's like Caitlyn Clark versus Jordan Bohannon 3-point competition. Like everybody wants to see it. So maybe in the future we'll have to see.
I'm thinking if you could just go to a playground, even, kind of like Rocky 3 at the end, go to the playground, dark, nobody there, and you just, But then make sure you tell us who won.
I think we got a whole potential, I think we got a potential charity event going on here.
I know.
That we could raise some money for the Children's Hospital, Caitlyn versus Jabo. I think we can make this happen.
It's a good idea. I've definitely thought about that before. Hey. You heard it here first. Maybe it's coming. I don't know.
That'd be awesome.
Can we get Adam in it too? Because Adam never had the guts to go in the paint, so he was out there on the 3-point arc as well.
I was soft. I stood back and shot all the time. So if I go in, I'm gonna probably get swatted, and I'm slow. So run me off some screens and let me fire some 3-pointers. That's all I wanted to do. Yeah. All right, we're gonna end with one final question, okay? And we're pulling into Caitlyn's world again, okay? It's a Saturday. It's off season. You don't have any basketball, anything going on. You're going to take the day off. How's that going to go? What are you going to do that day?
Depends what time of the year it is. If it's a Saturday in the fall, you probably might not like hearing this, but my brother plays football for Iowa State. So
we knew that.
At the Iowa State football game. If not at the Iowa one instead. So September 11th, I will be in neutral colors. In Ames. But other than that, honestly, my family, I would probably just be at home with my family more than anything. I have a dog, spend time with them. if I was in Iowa City, just spend time with my teammates. Really nothing crazy. Watch some Netflix, make some good food.
What are you watching on Netflix right now?
I just finished, you guys probably don't watch these shows, but I just finished Outer Banks. It's like a cheesy teenage show.
I heard it was good. I haven't seen it though.
It's super good. Yeah, I just finished it in like 2 days. I was kind of obsessed. And I'm also watching All American right now. It's like a cheesy teenage football show.
That got way too cheesy for me. I got to like season 2 and I'm like, I'm done.
It's a little unrealistic sometimes, but I still keep watching it.
The one that I always tell everybody about, and I've told Jerry this, is it's You, YOU. Okay. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen You. It's really good.
Yeah, like the stuff. Yeah, it is creepy, but it's like such a good show. That and Ozark are like my two favorites.
I've seen part of Ozark. Yeah, that's just like kind of dark and creepy though.
It is. It is. Oh, Jerry, what are you watching on Netflix? We need. What am I
watching on What's Netflix?
Oh, good Lord.
You youngins in your technology, I tell you.
Oh, man, this is bad.
So Caitlyn, I guess give us perspective. How often do you get a down day to be able to do these things?
Not often. I mean, even since I've been home, I felt like I've still been like on the go, like having to get so many like appointments in, and now school's starting. Like I don't really have much time. But honestly, like I don't mind it. I don't really like having just a bunch of free time to do stuff. Like I like having a busy schedule, and that's what I have all the time. So
when you're away from home and you're overseas, what's your favorite restaurant in Des Moines or West Des Moines that you miss the most? That when you come back home, other than your mom's delicious home cooking, what's that one restaurant that you want to go to the most as soon as you get back?
Tasty tacos.
Tasty tacos.
Tasty tacos is so good. I love tasty tacos.
Oh, it's the best.
I'm sorry, Caitlyn.
Come to Nebraska, tasty tacos.
Yeah, exactly. If I had to pick like an actual like sit down like nice restaurant, I'd go with Latin King. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's kind of far from our house, but
it's not like it's on the east side, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like by the fairgrounds.
Yeah, it's super good. It's in an odd spot of town for such a nice restaurant like that. You'd never think it was there, but
best Italian food.
Yeah, we used to go there for the Mother's Day buffet every year.
Yeah, it's so good.
Looking across the street at the Anderson Erickson cows over there.
Yep. Take a picture.
It's stuff like this that, like, when you leave Des Moines, like you don't get Anderson Erickson stuff, like Latin King, like all that really good, especially Italian food in Des Moines is so good. Like there's so much of it, and then you come out to Nebraska, and it's like, what's up, Pizza Hut?
Hey, that's your fault for moving to Nebraska. Come on.
It's our fault for more than just that. We'll tell you that.
We're trying to spread the black and gold here, Caitlyn.
Hey, I love it.
So the last question I got is, as you go through this off season, what's the thing that drives you most? What's that thing that you just keep going back and saying, I got to work harder because I can't stop thinking about this?
Yeah, I mean, the Final Four, really, and just wanting to lead our team there, I think is the biggest thing. And I think just like seeing all the expectations that people have on us, it just drives us to like want to get so much better and really prove those people right more than anything. Obviously, we don't owe them anything, but like just for ourselves, is we know there's a lot of hype and whatnot surrounding us. And I think just coming out and proving those things right and know that we deserve all that. And that we've earned that, and we've put in the time, we've put in the work with each other, I think is just the biggest thing. And I think for me, really all my confidence stems from all the work I put in. I'm in the gym often, and I think no matter what, that's always something I can lean back on. So that's really it for me, and I think our team in general.
Caitlyn, I think I speak for all Hawkeye fans where we are jacked up for Iowa women's basketball this year. We are super pumped to watch you in Carver. We're going to watch everything on ESPN, BTN Plus. Like I'm so excited to watch you shred up the Big Ten this year, and we're going to be rooting for you as loud and proud as we can out here in Nebraska and the rest of the state.
I appreciate it. I know we're super excited as well, and honestly, it's going to be here fast. So it feels like just yesterday our season ended, but we couldn't be more excited for this one to come.
Well, and as we've told the coaches and any of the other players we've interviewed, it's not just the fact the wins and losses, but you guys represent Iowa so well, and it makes us so proud to be fans over here. And as a Dowling graduate, I'll tell you the same thing. It's great to see how well you represent yourself and represent Iowa and the team and everything. Absolutely. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I think that's more important really than anything. It's just representing yourself right. And I think the girls on our team, that's what we do. And especially even the coaching staff, like that's just what we're about. And we like to do it the right way. So.
Heck yeah. And it shows too, the class and the chemistry that you guys have on that sideline with the coaching staff and the players. Jerry couldn't have said it better. I mean, being a Hawkeye fan, just the way you guys represent the state and the university is a lot for us to be proud of. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
All right, Caitlyn, we're going to let you get back to it. You got to get to training for that Final Four, so we're going to let you go. But thanks again for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on with us and winning that gold medal, bringing it home to the USA, and everything that you've done for Hawkeye athletics so far and what you're going to do in the future.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And keep sticking it to Nebraska for us.
Hey, that's right. I got that for sure.
All right, Caitlyn. Go Hawks.
Thanks, Caitlyn. Go Hawks.